Hi, Module 13, Leading Remote and Hybrid Teams. I'm Dr. Prabhakar Gantasala, Associate Dean at the School of Business, Southern Connecticut State University, and I'm dealing with Module 13, Leading Remote and Hybrid Teams, which is part of the micro-credential Agile Leadership in Uncertain Times. This is moving to the fact that, in today's world and age, where technology is such an integral part of what we do as organizations, we have this option of having to deal with employees, stakeholders, uh, vendors, suppliers, every other conceivable stakeholder that you can imagine having to deal with them in a remote location. The module overview, we are going to talk about the evolution of remote work, pre-2020 trends, current landscape, future projections, and the kind of challenges that agile leaders or transformative leaders face, the leadership challenges in terms of communication barriers, cultural differences, time zone management issues, and those kind of problems. How do you build a virtual team culture? Now, it's like how difficult it is to build a good team on ground in person. It's even more difficult when you want to build virtual teams with a strong culture. So, cultural elements, like we discussed in prior modules, is dependent on trust building, virtual team bonding in this case, and shared values. So, as an agile leader, if you're able to communicate across borders, across different locations of your organization, a vision that you bring to the table, shared set of values, overarching strategic goals, and then action plans that you have engaged every stakeholder into, then you have a good chance of sharing those values, building trust through transparent and open communication, even if it is virtual. I've had the experiences of working with NYIT, New York Institute of Technology, at its global campuses, one in Jordan and the other one in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. And our headquarters was in New York. We still shared a lot of vision elements, the mission elements, the campaign statement for the School of Business, and the shared values that the dean had brought into the School of Management at NYIT. Now, obviously, that could be possible only with several virtual meetings, not just with me as the associate dean, but also with an entire group of faculty, staff, administrators, executive board members, executive council, and the alumni and families and parents of all the students as well. So repeated, agendas, very intentional and purposeful meetings, open communication, seeking for help, bordering on humility, and securing and facilitating discussion and participation. There's a lot of trust built among stakeholders. We were one school that had several global locations, but we were unified in our vision, in our values, in our mission, in our campaign statement, and the high quality career driven education that we wanted to offer to our stakeholders and also make a positive impact in the community and societies whose lives we touched. So that was possible through virtual team bonding and, of course, interspersed with some of in person visits from New York. And also, we had, as associate deans, an opportunity to travel to New York as well. And faculty and deans came from New York to our global campuses as well. So, faculty exchange, student exchange only strengthened the virtual team bonding that was already built based on a shared vision, shared mission, campaign statement, and shared values. How do you implement these strategies to build virtual team culture? You could have virtual coffee chats. This could be possible from different locations, but where we are sharing coffee and we're discussing great product ideas, new ways of doing things. Sometimes even on informal basis, like in the digital water cooler spaces, where it facilitates a dedicated chat channel or a meeting space where remote employees can engage in casual, informal conversations. This almost is like mimicking the social interactions that would happen around a physical water cooler in an office. It fosters a sense of community and a connection among team members, even when working remotely. You can set up this space by creating a specific channel within Teams and encouraging lighthearted discussions on non work related topics as well. Online team building based on specific projects, bringing members of a team who have complementary skills, who have the expertise, knowledge, and inclination to work on a specific task, and also making them self-determine, self-monitor their progress, determine their own strategies towards achieving the KPIs that they have set for themselves as a team, having provided them with the kind of resources that they would require to mobilize and achieve those KPIs. If you did that as an agile leader, you would succeed in building a virtual team culture. Now, communication in virtual environments come with a lot of options in terms of communication channels. Synchronous versus asynchronous could be two different ways of looking at it. So, which meetings must be synchronous, which meetings could be recorded and watched online. Asynchronous mode, could you use a hybrid model where certain meetings would be synchronous, where certain meetings could be fully online. Selection of tool criteria and the complexity of the project being discussed. You could have shared drives to share documents, common documents that can be edited simultaneously from different locations, and also using channel optimization methods to make sure channels were used in a more efficient way and the work was getting done in the easiest possible way, in the most time effective way. Best practices for improving communication in virtual environments is clear communication protocols, documentation that is shared ahead of time, meeting effectiveness should be ensured. Like in the case of Automatic's communication framework, they've distributed agile models and practices and set guidelines for the company to manage, operate large, geographically dispersed teams, leveraging core agile principles while adapting them to a distributed employee group for effective collaboration and productivity. Remote agile ceremonies can be conducted, daily stand-ups, sprint planning, squads that can work on specific projects. And if there are squads that have done a sprint, they can go for a retrospective. Project teams that have done a project implementation could do a project retrospective to look at the successes, look at the failures, or what they have learned from past experiences. If it's a sprint planning, what did they learn, positives versus negatives in sprints? What did they learn in project implementation? If it's a project retrospective, what are the success stories? What are the failures? What are the challenges? What are learning points so that they can implement improvements, continuous improvement, action plans, moving for the future projects or future sprints. So these reviews, periodic reviews, are classical examples of virtual ceremony adaptation where employees, team members gather together in virtual locations and have a chance to review, openly discuss learning points, improvement points. Tools and techniques, digital boards can be used, virtual facilitation like Zoom or Teams can be used, Google Meets can be used. You can use several techniques and tools to discuss ideas. Discussion boards can be posted, chats can be facilitated, and calls can be facilitated among members. Group calls versus individual calls can be done. And in the process, you're having a chance to utilize these tools and techniques in the most optimal way to make sure that team collaboration and virtual team collaboration is as effective as in-person team collaboration. You can also have a technology stack for remote teams, like communication platform, project management tools that can be embedded into the software, repository that is used in the organization. Collaboration softwares can be used, OneDrive, Google Drive, and several other collaboration software tools can be used for great levels of integration in the virtual space. Integration requirements so that you maintain the cyber security of confidential information, single sign-on, multi-factor authentication can be used. Data security should be of prime importance when you're working in remote locations, and obviously you don't want to impediment the user experience because they're working from different locations. You got to use softwares that are accessible at all locations. So while ensuring that kind of user experience, it's important also to take care of the cybersecurity side and ensure confidentiality of the data, have the safety protocols in place so that data and information is secure and is not being misused or the system is not going to be breached. Now, performance management when it comes to virtual teams and how they collaborate and how they work and how do they implement projects and review projects, you want to have certain remote performance metrics to measure how virtual teams are doing. Uh, After 2020 and after COVID, we have realized that dependence on remote locations and remote work has increased. And to a great effect, because when we are remotely located, we just cut short on commute time. There's less utilization of office space. That means organizations can cut on administrative costs, office space costs, and also other overhead costs like power bills and other entertainment bills that are required if everybody was to meet in person. But at the same time, we have to keep a tab on the performance management of remote virtual collaboration teams and how what kind of metrics can be used to measure performance of such teams that work from remote locations. Obviously, like any other thing that we have discussed in prior modules, output measurement is important. How many projects were implemented, how quickly were they implemented, what's the time frame that was taken to implement a certain project, what are the quality indicators like customer satisfaction or client satisfaction. We need to engage in discussions with clientele to ask if the project implementation was up to their standard. Are they overall happy with certain deliverables from the project itself? Engagement tracking should be there to make sure that every member of the virtual team is contributing equally to their levels and to the assigned activity levels that they have been entrusted with. And then also we want to make sure we have feedback systems. We do regular check-ins. The agile leader has to meet up with individuals as well as teams, secure 360-degree reviews from every stakeholder that interacts with the virtual team, and also get peer feedback about whose contribution mattered most and if there were certain members of the team that were actually slacking off or would be engaged in social loafing. Examples of remote virtual teams that have done amazingly well are Microsoft's remote performance systems, where they have clear objective setting, they have clearly defined goals and KPIs. They meet virtually across the globe, and there is progress tracking to implement certain projects or to create innovative kind of softwares. Virtual team engagement, and you need also to make sure as an agile leader to see that all participants of a virtual team are engaged. So recognition programs can be instituted to say, hey, these are team members who are extraordinary in their virtual team engagement, who contributed towards creating positive impact or towards fulfilling the KPIs that were determined for individuals as well as team goals. Recognition programs, apart from that, virtual celebrations can be done, team rituals can be in place, and obviously, you can mimic a lot of stuff that goes on in person and make it as much fun, even if you're using certain tools like the internet and laptops and tabs and phones. Measurement methods, you can also do pulse surveys. You can find out the mood. Are people happy? Are team members engaged? Are they feeling a sense of belongingness? Uh, are they glad to be part of a team and to continue to be part of a team? Participation metrics can be measured by the attendance in each team. And again, it's easy to track because you're using technology tools to engage in virtual team meetings. Again, satisfaction scores, very important element of talking to clients, talking to team members, and seeing if they were satisfied working together or enjoying the effects of synergy in a collaboration team, even though it's on a virtual team basis. Remote team wellness, I mean, as you care for in-person teams and mental health support is equally important for those teams that work for extended periods of time on a remote basis. You want to make sure there is work-life balance. I've had several colleagues of mine complain when they work in virtual settings. They work for more number of hours. There's no respite from work. They start very early. They don't finish late in the night. They don't have enough work-life balance. They don't have time for their own hobbies, for their mental well-being. They don't have family time as well, and obviously it can result into burnout. And as an organization, as a responsible agile leader, somebody who cares for employees and stakeholders, you might want to make sure there is a burnout prevention. There's a particular time for login and a log off, so that private time is not infringed on, and then the employees have their own me time and family time, and they have a life to balance out. Social connections are important. You just lose the social touch if you're completely working on remote locations, like the digital, water cooler kind of meetings, where employees can at a remote location, mimicking the real water cooler kind of talks. They can discuss stuff that's non-work related topics as well to engage and increase, improve social connections. Physical wellness, you got to provide the kind of support for ergonomics. People sitting all the time together could develop postural problems, could also develop, a certain kind of illnesses because of a very sedentary lifestyle. So if they need a retractable kind of PC stand that allows employees to stand or sit or adjust the height of their PC or the screen. I mean, that kind of ergonomic support has to be provided, resources have to be given, activity engagement should be encouraged. Like employees who are working remote should be given those little breaks where they can go for a walk, they can grab a coffee, they can go out stretching and themselves and ways that keep them physically busy, physically active as well. A classical example is Twitter's wellness program, where they focus on mental health, give them some meditation classes and lessons. Virtual fitness classes are given where they can practice yoga and certain forms of aerobics as well. So these things ensure that remote teams are also taken care of and their wellness is given full consideration and not ignoring their mental well-being. We also have the situation where we might have conflict even while working in remote virtual teams. So again, like if you were to deal with in-person teams, early detection is important. As an agile leader, you need to spot where are the points of friction, where is the point of dissent, and detecting dysfunctional conflict, trying to focus on problem-related issues, and trying to focus team members' attention to creating solutions are the intervention strategies that must be there. Resolution could involve reorganizing a team or providing them with resources or extending the period of time for completion of a particular project if that's required. All kinds of resolution techniques must be used to make sure conflict doesn't become dysfunctional and it stays to be functional. And we want to make the best use of disagreement between team members because that kind of disagreement that is functional leads to innovative ideas and out of the box thinking. Communication tools that are used for remote conflict resolution or video conferencing, talking to people, having the HR involved if you need to, having the ombudsman of the organization. The ombudsperson is somebody who can be an impartial judge of factual information, listen to both sides, and not be emotionally involved or be biased. And the ombudsperson, you as an agile leader, and the HR involved can actually listen to both parties that have been aggrieved and can resolve any kind of conflict within the purview of organizational policy and the law of the land. Written documentation policies are extremely important in conflict resolution situations. Employee handbooks can be a reference point. Local law and regulatory bodies and the law of the land are again good reference points as well. Having feedback channels so that clarifications can be provided, questions can be answered. Having somebody to answer your questions all the time is an important element in trying to reduce dysfunctional conflict and also to work towards conflict resolution whenever conflict arises. The future of remote leadership is again driven by so much of technology, including virtual reality, augmented reality integration. Those that have taken augmented reality integration, it's nice to know that you could almost start your own business having augmented reality, gear that you can wear, and it's programmed to show you your own shop floor, the workflow itself. You can walk through, you can talk to people, you can take decisions, you can see workflow disruptions, you can make choices of how to utilize resources. So that kind of simulated environment, augmented reality is possible. So remote leadership can utilize these kind of technologies, including AI assistants, to help build collaboration, transparent communication, trust, and efficiency in processes so that teams can continue to work on goals that have been set forth for them. Preparation strategy, skill development is important because employees who are using these technologies must be aware. They should be trained how to use them and maximize the return through efficiently using these technologies. Tool adoption should be quick, especially tools like VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and also AI embedded kind of tools that can only help be more efficient as team members. Cultural adaptation is extremely crucial, including understanding how members of a particular community would react, their choices and preferences of turn on their videos or not. There are several nuances to culture that leaders must be aware, even if they're working in remote locations, and be respectful of the same. Thank you.